you guys, and welcome to the Become Your Magic Power Hour. It is so nice outside. I decided to come in the backyard today to do our Become Your Magic conversation. So as always, I'm going to give you guys some time to get on. As you know, we meet here every... I love some coffee sometimes, right? We meet here every Monday through Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. and Becoming Your Magic is really about igniting those different abracadabra moments that lead you to that magic moment, right? Because nothing happens overnight. We all recognize it's a process. Today is the first day on the I Hire Me challenge. Today is my start date. We have a couple of people that are starting today. So I'm shouting out the people who hired themselves today. This is the first day to the best rest of your life, because this habit that you are about to form with me in 30 days will be the evidence of what it means to what? Become your magic. Abracadabra. You too can have this shirt to represent you showing up in your magic. But anyway, at this time, I ask that you would share. Why? Because sharing is caring. And it is nothing to get what we need, but not have everybody else know where we're heading so that we can have the support we need, right? And so letting people know what you're doing, where you're going is not about you coming in and giving away your secrets or telling people God's plan for you, but it's really about you getting somebody to co-sign. God always says if two would touch and agree, it is so. And I think we keep so much stuff to ourselves. We never get nobody to touch and agree with us. And then we start to talk ourselves out of our own dreams because of life and time. Well, guess what? We got 720 hours every month. So time is not an issue. How you spend your time is. And so this is one of the ways that you spend your time in a positive way in order to what? Inspire, influence, impact, infect the journey that you're on, right? In a positive way so that we can become the abracadabra moments that lead us to those victories. Melissa, you see I'm wearing my chain. So Melissa just gave me this the other day, and this is a healing stone. She can tell you more about it. I'm learning as I go. But what I decided to do is that because I want to heal the way I structure my time. Come on now. I want to heal the doubt in where I see myself going. I want to heal those moments and those places that make me feel like I can't find the time to do what I need to do. I can't discipline myself for my own dreams, but I could discipline myself for everybody else. So I'm going to be wearing this stone every day for the next 30 days. Why? Because I know that we got to be intentional about our energy. We got to be intentional about where we are, who we are, how we move. I mean, everything is so important. Everything is so precise, right? God is so precise with who you are. So much so that he pre-qualified you for where you're going. And so it's about us learning to figure out what was that moment teaching me. How can I leave the pain, pick up the power in order to what? Grow and go into that place that I see myself at. And so we're getting action for our attraction, right? And every day we do this is getting an action for our attraction. This is a self-care journey. The I Hire Myself challenge is a self-care journey. So whatever that self-care is, and as I said, please join my I Hire Myself group, because you will be able to be in the group with women and men who are actually hiring themselves, supporting each other. We're going to encourage each other. I will be doing exercise in that group, because an hour of me encouraging and my self-care is exercise. I'm going to have to be intentional about giving myself an hour of workout a day. Why? Because if I don't, nothing will get done. So we are only 5 minutes in, And I am about to share to my groups, because I'm only in 2 places right now. If you're watching me on YouTube, hello YouTube. I am just growing that. So if you happen to have YouTube, do me a favor, go over and subscribe to my I Choose Me hashtag no more excuses. Tell somebody about my YouTube page. I'm trying to grow that. That's one of the things that I'm doing in this I Hire Myself challenge. So for 6 hours a day, I'm going to interrupt everybody else's questions and everybody else's comments and everybody else desire for me, and I'm going to include my own. I'm going to fill myself up before I pour out into everybody else, right? And so we get 24 hours a day. 6 hours is only a quarter. 6 hours is only 1/4 of the 4 hours. Hold on one second. Let me take this call. I'm live. Mimi? Oh, look, I'll call you back. I'm live now. Sweat. I'm back. That's what happens when you're live, honey. Real life situations. So yes, subscribe. Let's see. Hello, happy Power Hour, boo. Happy start day 2. How's the first day of work treating you? Oh my goodness, the first day of work is treating me just fine. You know what I realized? Because I am being intentional about my time, it seems like I have more of it. How funny is that? Do you ever notice when you are like being like proactive in certain things, it gets a whole lot easier? So now I woke up today like, all right, 6 hours must go to me. I'm already 3 hours in and I haven't even began the day, right? This is an hour right here. This is my 3rd hour coming in. I got up. I had to make some things. That was an hour. I had to do, I had my, I didn't do my exercise on live today. I'm going to do it in the afternoon in a group. So any of you guys want to work out with me this afternoon, I will be doing it in the I Hire Myself, because that's one of my hours. And so I want to be clocking into me in that area so that we can see how it looks to actually be intentional about what you're doing it for. Key, right? What are you doing it for? That's the intention. So you got to ask yourself what I'm doing it for, and then get with the plan, right? Get with the plan. Let me get that off the bottom so we can see this stuff. Let's go back. So it's a rainbow moonstone. Rainbow moonstone. Let me bring this closer. Isn't that beautiful? So this is a rainbow, which is healing. That's right. Time to self-discipline for myself. And that's all it is. It's just discipline. That's what I found. I found that we are undisciplined. We are undisciplined. You hear me? Undisciplined. And we are very disciplined in every area of our lives. Why do I know that? Because everything we do takes discipline. Paying your bills takes discipline. Waking up and getting dressed takes discipline. Setting your alarm to get to work takes discipline. Showing up for your kids' open school takes discipline, right? Every single piece of our life takes a form of discipline. And so we're about to discipline ourselves with ourselves in that self-care aspect. Period, poo. So, all right, I didn't even share yet. So let me get on here and share it so that we can because we're getting closer to the topic at hand. We're going to do some poetry today because I can. We're going to do shout out to them vibes. I just felt Tabitha. I love her. She be doing her cooking show. I haven't been able to tune in, but honey, I love when she said, what? Why you? Because I can. Anyway, this is a 15-minute timer. I'm going to have to time myself because I have been finding myself long-winded and I'm missing all the good points. Okay, here we go. I found myself. Now, let me share it to my groups and then we can go. Definitely Precious collection shopping. I Hire Myself. I Choose Me Bling Boutique. Come on now. So how many things are you in control of in this season? How many things are you planning for in this season? In order to activate your magic, in order to become your power, right? That supernatural force, you have to know where you're headed and what you're doing and what it is that you want to be clear. You got to get rid of all of those limited beliefs, right? So that we can grow into who we were called to be. I think that is it. Did I go on 1 second? 1 second. All right. That's it. Here we go. So the topic for today, we're 10 minutes in. We still got 5 minutes before we get to the topic. Oh, it looks so nice. I'm looking at myself. I'm like, it looks nice behind me. Isn't it something to go outside? Just think about outside, honey. How often do you get a break and go outside and get some fresh sunlight, right? How often do you just enjoy just the many treasures of the of earth, right? Just those simple things of just saying, I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for that. It just breeds. It breeds excellence. It breeds appreciation, and it breeds a sense of joy, a real sense of joy. So, okay, here we go. So today's topic, I got to remember what it was. It is, you're chasing the bag, but the treasure is in the house. I don't even know what I was thinking last night when I wrote that down, but let's go with me. You're chasing the bag, but the treasure is in the house. I want you to understand that when we are chasing the bag, we all know that phrase, chasing the bag, man. We're trying to get this money. We're trying to live the life of our dreams. We're trying to create this this lifestyle, right? We're trying to create multiple moments that become our lifestyle. Multiple moments that become the thing that is us. So if we're thinking about how do I realize that the treasure is in the house, I got this concept one day. I was sitting in there and I was saying, if somebody told you that this house that you just bought your first house, right? And everybody who's listening to me, this is your house. You own it. You're not trying to get it. You are living in this house. You get this message, right? You get this letter in the mail that says, from the person who built the house, right? God is the person who built the house. So you get this letter in the mail and they say, listen, this house right now is now yours. And I want you to know that in the attic of this house that you just bought, there is $1 million treasure that is hidden in the attic. Because everybody always say, oh, if I could win $1 million. So let's just go with the $1 million. Some of us are into the trillion, the billion idea, legacy. But let's start with the $1 million dream that most everybody has. So somebody sends you a letter in the mailbox and say that house that you just bought has $1 million treasure in the attic. And the only way that you can actually get that treasure, receive what's up in the attic, you got to find the key. You cannot break in the door. You cannot get somebody else to come unlock it. You have to take the time to search around the house that you bought and find the key that unlocks the attic that holds the $1 million. You hear me? All you have to do, the $1 million is already in the attic of the house that you bought, that you did not even know that it held that type of treasure. But you found out after you invested in the property, come on now, that there was $1 million that was locked up in the attic. And the letter read like this: in order to retrieve the $1 million, all you have to do is unlock the attic and find the key within the house that you bought. So when I was thinking about that, I said, oh, imagine if somebody got that. If we all got that notice that there was $1 million waiting for us and we just had to find the key, how would we tear up that house? We would tear it apart because we would understand that our freedom was in finding the key. Our freedom was in taking time out to search and discover the treasure that will lead us to our abundance, right? So imagine that you know that the key is in the house and all you have to do is look for it. Now let's revert back to us. You are the key, right? The things that you've been through is the key. The $1 million is in your attic. This is the attic. The seeds of thoughts, right, are the attic. Is the attic of our existence. It is where the $1 million is locked up. And so now that you know that the $1 million is locked up in your mind, and how you go through those different areas of your life to find those keys, that unlocks another level of yourself in order for you to retrieve the master key to get the abundance that is waiting in the attic because you already invested in the house. And so God already invested in the house that is you. And in order for you to find out how do I retrieve those many things that I desire, right? Because God doesn't give you a desire without giving you a plan to follow through on that desire of your heart. He said, ask and you shall receive. And so in knowing what I have allows me to act in a different manner, and it makes me fight for the right to get what I earned. And so you already paid the price. You already are you. And so because you already paid the price and you already are you, the next step is to retrieve all the things that are going to allow you to get that abundance type of life. So we're outside trying to find joy over here, trying to find money over here, trying to find peace over here, trying to find love over here, trying to find contentment over here. We're looking for everything outside of the house that is us. We're looking for everything outside of the being that is us, right? And so to be in one with yourself is to recognize that everything I need, I already have. I have the key to every area of this house that I brought. Now I have to find the answers. I have to commit to the search in order to get what it is that I say I want. And so it's so funny how consistent we are when we know that something is there, right? So if you put some kids in the backyard and say, listen, it is Easter time and there is some eggs back there and there's some money eggs. Come on now, how do they look for that money egg? There's some money eggs out there. There's some candy eggs out there and I want you to go free. Those kids will look until they find and they want to come back to the master and say, listen, y'all, is that it? Is there any more out here? Is there more that we've missed? And, and I think that's what life is. Life is about being able to come to oneself and figure out, is there anything that I missed? Is there anything that I didn't see? And how can I begin to be intentional about the things that I see for myself and the things that I want for myself? How do I stop looking outward and begin to look inside? To recognize it's an inside job. To recognize that everything that I've been through is what allows me to have the key to unlock that abundance that is in my attic. Because I was able to gain confidence. I was able to create momentum. I was able to hire myself, right? Because just imagine us hiring ourselves is saying to God that I'm not going to take all these hours that you give me for granted. I am going to stop asking you for stuff, but I'm going to get an action for my yes. I'm going to get an action in order to get the things that I say I want, because I recognize that I only get it when I show up. When I become my own magic, when I am the magician of my life, because he said we have the power to do everything we want, everything we desire. The only thing it requires is that we are in action for our attraction. The only thing that requires, he said, to seek and find. And so what are the answers to you? How do we figure that out? We figure that out by sitting down and creating a plan. A plan that is going to benefit where you see yourself going. And everybody's plan should look different because everybody in this world is different. We can learn and structure and get ideas from one another, but the core of what we're doing and where we're doing lies within ourselves. The core of what our dreams are lies within ourselves. And so we are outside chasing the bag. The bag can mean anything that you think you're missing. When you are looking for something and in search for something, that means you think you're missing it. My cousin told me something that was so powerful. Shout out to Coach Denton. He looked at me. He said, I was like, I'm trying to get my life together. I got all these plans. I got all these ideas. I'm just trying to get to the money. And he said, well, you know what? If you're trying to get to the money, you missed the whole point. So even though I coach, I need coaches in other areas. Why? Because I got my area locked down. I know how to believe in myself. I know how to show up. I know how to take these dreams and write them down. I know how to do that part, but I don't know how to grow it, right? That is what I had to learn. And so he coached me. He looked at me and he said, listen, You are a whale in the fish tank. You are looking for the answer. You are looking for the money, but unless you know that you are the money, you miss the whole point. He said, if you're trying to get to the money, I need you to go look in the mirror. That was an aha moment to me. Then I was blessed with somebody else. I'm going to tell you, people will come into your life and bless you. And if you are willing to see that you don't got it all together, if you are willing to see that God will not come down and change your life, but he will inject somebody, infect your life with somebody ideas that is going to co-sign the thing that you are looking for. So shout out to James Sutton. Oh my God, he was a master at sitting with me and my husband, sitting down with me and my husband and being like, listen, you have this, and this. You have not because you haven't broken down what you have and breaking it down in real time, right? And so I'm all in the spirit realm, but I got to come in real time. Because faith without works is dead. And so faith is the spirit of it, right? It is what has not been seen, but works is the action of it. And so to find people that help you get an action for your attraction is really what it's all about, to be receptive. And so when he sat down and was like, well, if you have this many prizes and this many, then this is what you can do, and you can decide what you want to make a day, and you can go at it as you would anything else. So that was about a year ago. Do you know it took me a whole year to kind of even, for God to even implant this idea of, why don't you hire yourself? It took me 4 years to start a movement, and all I really had to do was start going live. I wrote the vision on the board in in 2012. 2012, I wrote the vision on the board. I didn't start until 2016 going live with the I Choose Me movement. What happened in those 4 years that vision was waiting on a board, that was written down? What happened in those 4 years? I lost track of my position. I lost track on what I had to do to follow through with that yes. So I had to learn that while it took me 4 years, it could have took me 1 month to do what I did if I was intentional with my time. If I wasn't chasing other stuff and realized that the treasure lied within, I could have been where I saw myself going years ago. But let me speak for me. I am the biggest procrastinator. No matter how much I get done, I know that is nowhere near where my life could be if I just took a little bit more time to structure, a little bit more time to be intentional. And so we get caught up in all the things that we do for the day, and we never really think, how did that fill me up? What part of your day filled you up? Oh yeah, you love your kids. I love my kids too. But that's not the part that fills you up. That's what you give out. I need you to understand. I love my husband. I'm sure you love your spouses, but that is not the part that fills you up. And I don't mean like you run empty for them. What I'm saying is that is not the you. That is your roles and titles. There is something totally different that must help you grow to be able to pour into those roles and titles and not feel drained at the end of the day. Right? And so what I started to think is, if I would sit down and manage the time that God gave me a little bit better, I could live in the dream that I am wishing and hoping and praying for. I can stop chasing the bag and realizing that the treasure lies within me, that I am the bag, that you are the bag. And in order to get the treasure, in order to get that thing that you want, that you have to be intentional with how you move, with what you do, with how you show up. And so that's what Abracadabra is all about. It's about recognizing that I am my own magic. That is a self-care type of journey. That in order for me to be who I was called to be, I have to really look at who that is. I have to really decide, what does that look like? So what areas of my life, or what areas of your life, are you looking on the outside for instead of coming on the inside? Everything you do is an inside job. It is an overflow from what is already lying within. And so if you're lying about what's within, you will lose your energy. You will lose your trust with yourself, right? Because after a while, if I tell myself what I can be and I never show up in it, then I'm gonna start saying, she ain't that person. He ain't that person. If I keep on talking about what I want and never actually receive it or never actually acquire it, then that is going to kind of sit with me in a negative way about the relationship that I have with myself. And so we got to be very clear that how we show up for ourselves is the trust relationship that we build. It stops us from looking outward for the treasure, chasing the bag, and realize that the treasure is inside. It stops us from seeking all around and really start digging in our own backyard. Like there is gold inside of you. I mean, a huge treasure lying right within your being. And the only way you get to do that is by what? Being intentional with who and what you possess. And so the biggest key is knowing what it is that you have. What is it that you possess? What is it that you know that if I had a dream team, oh my God, this is what they would do. Well, maybe we can't afford a dream team, but you can afford to create a plan. You can afford to go on YouTube University and figure out, okay, well, what is it that I want? What am I searching for? And how can I find it? By sitting in this space and actually making a plan that benefits who I am. How can I trust that I'm more able and my dreams matter just as much as somebody else? How can I trust who I am? I trust that by actually igniting all of those moments that I'm speaking of. Igniting all of those different situations. Being real clear about the you, that you part, right? And so, as I said, it's a self-love journey. It is really, really, really as simple as, what do I want? And what am I willing to do for it? How am I willing to discipline myself for it? So we all know I'm going to discipline myself 6 hours a day. I'm going to get an hour of workout in. I'm going to get an hour of planning in, reading in. I have a book that I am starting to read today. I'm going to get an hour a day of just changing my mindset, changing the way I see myself, implementing the things that I need, that I'm thinking I need a team for, when you are your team. Until you show up for you, nobody else will. Until you continue to chase that thing that matters to you, you're going to miss out on the treasure that is you. And so I want to get you to get into a better relationship with yourself, like I had to do. I had to choose me. I had to be intentional. I had to not get caught up in what I gained from my roles and titles, and be just as responsible with my assignment. So if God said, as I said before, that you should give the church 10%, and the word also says you are the church, then what are you giving yourself? How much time are you giving yourself? God has no respect to persons. We all get the same amount of time. So what makes me different from you, or you from somebody else? What makes me different from a star that I'm looking at, right? What makes me different from them? The fact that they never gave up. What makes Tyler Perry's story so powerful? The fact that he never gave up. Whether he was sleeping in his car, he never gave up. Whether he used his last dime on creating that play, that moment, he never gave up. But he wasn't chasing the bag. He was chasing his dream. And there's a difference. There's a difference from chasing the bag, which is somebody else's idea for your life, and chasing your dream, which is the idea that God has for your life. So how are you working in the dream that is you? Not the dream that is everybody else, but the dream that is you. And have you even sat down and thought about, what does that look like? I'm trying to keep up with the Joneses. I want a peace of mind. I want this, I want that. But I never stopped and asked, what do I really want? And why do I want those things? And so the first part of being real specific with your intention would be to sit down and write down the things that you want. And then next to that thing, you want to put down, what is the intention behind that? Do I want a car just to be riding around and say, I got a car? Or do I want this car that I dreamed of and it means this? What does it mean to have it? If your reasoning is for the outside, then it's going to block what you're doing on the inside. But if your reasoning is the inside, that will manifest. It will come to pass. But you got to have the right intention attached to the why. What it is, why you want it. What is the intention that is attached to it? That is the power. That is the supernatural force that you take with you to get to those abracadabra moments, right? You take those ideas and you place them in position and you say, okay, this is what I want. This is why I want it. And make sure the core of it is for you. The core of it is not about what other people think. The core of it is about what I think. Because at the end of the day, you look yourself in the mirror. At the end of the day, you have to look yourself in the eyes. At the end of the day, you have to be able to feel your own heart and know how much truth is in the life that you are planning. And so I want us to stop planning lives according to our neighbors. I want us to start planning lives according to our life, according to our assignment, according to our gifts, according to our stories. We don't need to be duplicated. We need to be one of a kind. And in being one of a kind is really being able to decide what I need, what that looks like, how I'm going to show up in that. How am I going to discipline myself for what I say I want? How am I going to discipline myself for what I know I need? So if I need quality time with my mate, then when I just wake up in the morning, I'm not just going to be intentional. I'm going to make sure that I spend that time. I'm going to make sure that if I'm so busy because my life is financially fit, but I know that I wish I had more time with my family, I'm going to schedule dinner every day because that is filling up the me that goes into the world. That is allowing me to have 24 hours of at least a quarter of the love and intention drawn to me to refill the stuff that I'm pouring out. And so there are no rules to how you hire yourself and for what position you're doing it for. The rule is understanding that the bag is not outside, the treasure is inside. The rule is understanding you make the rules. You decide. When the person was about to hire you for the job, they wanted to decide what that looked like. They decided what they wanted that position to, what characteristics they wanted the person who filled that position to have. They decided that in order for them to create the momentum that they needed, that you needed to show up every single day, minimum of 40 hours a week. Even when you didn't feel good because you ain't had enough sick days. Even when your kid had a play because you don't have time for that. You ain't earned your vacation yet. And so just imagine how much we can get when we start to show up for us. We can get full-time benefits. Do you know that in order to get full-time benefits, you got to be a full-time worker? Yes, she said it. In order to get full-time benefits, you have to be a full-time worker. So you want your life to benefit your full-time dreams, but you haven't done no full-time work in it. You have this desire for yourself, but you haven't even clocked into the desire. And so we all understand that it's after the yes. The yes is permission. But the question is, how have you moved in that yes? This is an easy way to start creating a structure and a plan to move on your yes. I cannot tell you enough. When God put that in my spirit, the yes is just permission. It changed my life. Because I've been looking at my vision board and I'm like, oh my God, I got this vision board. My vision board is 8 years old. I got 3 days left. What do I need to do? Okay, I'm waiting on God. I'm waiting on God. I'm waiting on God. There's 2 things you're doing. You're either waiting or working. You're either waiting or working. And the only time you have permission to wait is when you have worked all and done all you can do. And now you're just standing. But the waiting comes after the work. And so what have we been waiting for? What have we been working for? Because our life will be the evidence of how we spend our time. Our life will be the evidence of how we spend our time. So the question is, how are you spending your time? How are you spending that moment? How are you spending those precious hours, minutes, days? And are you worth actually showing up for you and stop chasing the bag and start being the bag? Come on now. Stop chasing the bag and start being the bag. I'm learning that. I got to stop looking for stuff to happen and I just got to make it happen, right? By taking control of the time that God's given me. So when I thought back, I realized 720 months. Last month, I got 720 hours in a month. And I sat and I thought and I said, well, what did I do? How did I have all those hours? I can't even tell you what I've done with it. I can't even tell you what I've done with it. I feel proud. I can see evidence, but oh my goodness. If I had been consistently showing up and clocking into me, wouldn't my dreams look like somebody else's dreams? Right? That restaurant you go to every day and invest in them was because they invested in their self first. Mm-hmm. Right? That place you get to attend, that event, the movies, I don't care, the spas, you name it. Whatever thing brings you joy, you are able to invest in that thing because they invested in themselves first. Because they took heed and took control over the time that they were given. Because they realized that life wasn't going to happen to them, but they were going to happen to life. And so what are the things that you are waiting on? What are the things that you are desiring? And what's stopping you? What's stopping you is your inability to be disciplined in your dream. Your inability to realize that instead of chasing the bag, recognizing that you are the bag. And that those different ideas, those different seeds of thought can definitely redirect your outcomes. So if you said that I've been waiting on this thing for a whole year, now we're going to do it different. Now we're going to not wait for it. We're going to work for it. I hire myself means I am not waiting for life to happen. I'm going to work on my life so it can happen. When somebody hired you, they're not waiting for their dream to thing. They put you in position to keep the momentum going so that you can keep that position actually flowing in the way that they want it to go. So we have to stop waiting and activate our working. Know what it is we want to work on and begin to do so. Be very intentional about the most important part of your life right now and make a 30-day plan. Less than 6 hours a day. That is 40 hours a week. You have worked for somebody else's dream. I am sure. And if you have never worked for anybody else's dream, now's the time to work for you. If you don't know how to do that, this is the structure you need. Make a plan. Put down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. It doesn't have to be consecutively. I'm doing 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, and 2 hours in the evening. 6 hours going fast. I'm already at 3 hours and I haven't even started. It is not even 1 o'clock yet. So what I found is when I start to be in control of my time, that I gain more time. Instead of being easily distracted and looking up like, oh, it's a whole year already? I told y'all I had a vision and a dream of writing a play a whole year before I even sat down and took the pen and the paper. Why? Why do I sit down on me? Why do we do this? What is that thing that allows us to go above and beyond for everybody else? But when it comes to us, we don't have the time. We don't have the dedication. We don't have the strength for us. The person who we spend 24/7 with, we don't have time for us. This is the pandemic of this world. Putting you last, expecting to have extra for somebody else. Putting you last and blaming everybody else for putting themselves first. They asked what you didn't have the courage to ask for. It is not their fault that you gave of yourself so freely, and now when it came time to give to yourself, you had nothing left. That is a you problem. And so in order for us to really change our lives, we got to take ownership of the life that we're living. We have to stop blaming everybody else for who we ain't, Who we ain't is about who we ain't showing up as. Who we ain't is because of what we ain't doing. You are your own magic. What you're not doing is why you're not living that life you want. What you're not doing is why you're not having the desires that you have placed, that you're not fulfilling the assignment on your life because of what you're not doing, how you're not disciplining your days, how you're not disciplining your desires, how you're not being intentional about where you're moving, that you're going, aimlessly with no direction and wondering why you keep on going in circles. We all know that in order to receive anything, in order to get to a destination, a location, we got to put it in a GPS. And so it's not enough for you to want it. It's more important for you to work at it. It's more important for you to be intentional with it. And so I don't know what the next 30 days is going to bring, but I can assure you I am going to be so much closer to where I see myself because of the attention attached to who I say I want to be. We become trustworthy to ourselves when we begin to trust ourselves. Right? When we begin to trust ourselves again. When you came into this world, you believed in yourself. Before you got to the point that you are right now, you were invincible. When we think about everybody else, oh my God, we are there for everybody. We are the rock. We are the best friend. We are the mom. We are the dad. We are the queen. We are the king. We are everything. We live to be above and beyond in our roles and titles, but are you living to be above and beyond an assignment? The solution to somebody's problem? Starting with your own? Because how can I solve your problem if I haven't even solved mine? How can I tell you you can be rich if I ain't even accomplished being rich? Stay in your lane of what you can teach. You can't teach what you haven't learned yet. Right? Stay in your lane. Don't compete with what everybody else is doing. Be true to you. Choose you. Right? Because that means that I'm going to be authentic in my birthright. I'm going to be authentic in my dreams. I'm going to be authentic in how I show up. I'm not waiting for anybody to show me what God said about me. I am going to show you what he told me. That's what setting your time up is about. That's why we see these people and we're like, oh my God, how do they do it? Watch their story. Find out how much they clocked into them, how much they invested, and that they are now at the point of return. And so 30 days is like a salary job. Hell, if you start working for anybody, in 2 weeks, you don't get paid until the next 2 weeks. So just hire yourself for 2 weeks first and see what growth in your life can be. And it doesn't have to be financial. Like I said, be true to what your mission is. So if your mission is more family time, schedule it in. No more excuses. If you want to start that, if you want to write that book, schedule it in. If you take an hour a day, how many pages would that be? After 30 days, you'll have a whole book done. Why? Because I didn't just aimlessly throw my minutes away. I said, God, this is what I want. You said yes to me. You said I have to go get my yes. So let me figure out what can I do to be in position for the moment. I love Oprah says success is when preparation meets opportunity. What opportunity have you prepared for? If the opportunity showed up tomorrow, how much money would you leave on the table because you forgot to prepare in all of these months of hours that you were given? Could you imagine if you multiplied that small portion of what somebody thinks your worth is by 40 when you decide what your worth is? What do you think you're worth? And then multiply that. And you multiply that with time because time equals money. Time equals money. So the time I spend is the investment on the back end. When I buy a house, honey, the house doesn't have the equity when I buy it. The house have equity as I live in it over time and take care of it. So even if I don't take care of it, guess what? Just because the property value is rising, I will get something off of what I got. But my neighbor who decided to add a pool in the back and redo the kitchen and she added more value, or he added more value to what they were given. So what gift did God give you, and did you bury it or did you add more value? So yeah, you may get a little bit on top of that, but you'll get way more if you spend more time, because time equals money. So the time they spent to plant the seed to say, I want to upgrade the house, I want to take care of it while I'm living in it, it made them in the successful position to sell it at top dollar, top market, higher than anybody else on the block, because of how they invested their time. We all lived there the same amount of years, but this neighbor got more than that neighbor because of how they lived. So how are you living? How will you continually to upgrade you? You upgrade you by being intentional with your time. You upgrade you by clocking into you. You upgrade you by knowing what it is you want to revamp in your life and doing it. That's what this I Hire Myself challenge is. That's what this topic is all about. The topic is understanding that I am no longer chasing the bag, because God woke me up this morning and said, you are the money. You are the bag. You are the abracadabra. You are your magic. And the minute, oh my God, the minute you know that time that I've been giving you, that you have been taking for granted, if you would just activate it in intentional ways, that you will stop coming to me on your knees, except you'll be coming to me jumping, saying, oh my God, abracadabra, y'all. Look what he did through me. When I was able to see me, when I was able to show up for me, when I was able to do the work that required of me. So every other area may look beautiful, but it's because they spent the time in that area of their life. And so we got to spend the time. We got to stop taking these moments for granted. You know, so many people say, oh my goodness, I wish I would have known. I wish I knew yesterday I was going to lose that person. I would have done something different. Do something different now. Stop complaining after the fact. Get in action today. Stop waiting for stuff to happen and say, oh, if I could have. You can. You can. Stop regretting on tomorrow what you didn't do yesterday, when today is the time to do it different. Every day you have a new day to do it different. Every single day. Every single day you have a new day to change the way you're thinking, to renew the way you see yourself. That is given to you freely. You have choices. The question is, will you begin to choose you? Will you begin to show up for you? Will you begin to prove to God that he was right in giving you breath today? That breath that we take for granted is attached to time. And I want you to become timeless by showing up as often as you can and being intentional about what you're doing with the time that God has given you. All your time don't have to be structured, but can we do just a quarter of your day to refill you, to work on your dreams? Can you sacrifice a quarter of your day for you, the person who goes above and beyond for everybody else, the person who shows up with no thank yous on most occasions, the person who is waiting to be seen for the gift that is them? That person, can you sacrifice that time that God has given you for that person that deserves you? You deserve you more than anybody else. And I wish you would give unto yourself the treasure that you are giving to the world. You are chasing things that lies within. You are looking for time when God has given it to you. He gave you everything you need. Everything you need. The difference is knowing what you have in order to enforce it so that you can make your life rise up and meet you. Success is when preparation meets opportunity. I'm giving you the opportunity. A seed of thought is the opportunity to think of yourself different, to show up for yourself different, and to just start with a quarter of your day filling up the things and the areas that you want for you and only you. Everything else is extra. Or God's given you a whole 3/4 to give out the extra. Give 1/4 to yourself a day. Just one. I'm so excited. We are 49 minutes in. Oh, Wandale said he needed this. Thank you, boo. I choose me. That's right. And so I want you to understand that that's what this is all about. That's why I show up. I show up because I know that this time that I give, I'm getting a check mark and investment to who I know myself to be. That God is smiling down at me and saying, I'm glad you show up. I need a little more though. He's telling me, yeah, I see you doing what's simple, but I need you to do what's hard. I want to give you credit for the things that you haven't yet mastered. You already passed that. So how many areas have we already passed in and we keep on working over? But he said, listen, that's done. You got that. Everybody else want to keep on going to their favorite subject, right? No. We're not talking about that D. Let's talk about my favorite subject. Yeah, but you got your favorite subject down. But in order to get an overall well grade, honey, guess what you got to do? You got to master every subject. And every subject won't be easy. And every subject you probably won't get an A+ in. But what you will do is you will pass. Because if you sit down and take the time to study, to show yourself approved, as long as you can get the concept and be able to leave that area of your life with enough knowledge to never fail again, then you can go on to the next part and the next part and the next part. So the first 30 days is one area. So my first area is working on getting my brand visibility, right? So all you guys share. Help me with my dream. I'm working on my brand visibility. You may be working on your price. So I want to be able to have brand visibility, to be known as a soul stirring, inspirational prophetic poet with so many products that there is nobody who goes unnoticed, right? That's my vision. What's your vision? Please let me know so that we can co-sign, so that we can touch and agree, because that's what it's about. Don't be afraid to share your dreams. Can't nobody take what God gave you. Can't nobody talk you out of your stuff because you own your time. It's all about you. So if you want it, you can have it. Prove it to God that you want it. Prove it to God by following through on that yes he gave you. I'm ready. Are you ready? I am ready. This is going to be the next best 30. I could just feel it in my soul. Every time he gives me something, like, God, you be showing off. But I'm a work in progress. And I'm being as authentic, vulnerable as I can be, and letting you know that it is not an overnight success. Nobody is. The success is in the moments that you take every day. The success is in the level of your fullness when you get to the end of the day. The success is how you think about yourself at the end of the week. The success is how you see yourself when you look in the mirror. The success is how you feel about you showing up, not how they feel about you showing up. The success lies within, because the success within fills me up in order to what? Overflow, so that those other people can see that I am to you what I have already been to me. How many of us need to be that thing for ourselves first? We got to. We owe it to ourselves. It is a relay race, and somebody is relying on you. And the only way that you can show up the way you need to is by being as full as you absolutely can. You are the reason. So let's see. It's assignment time, baby. Time to clock in. I am telling you. So we are 53 minutes in. Let me see. We're going to find a poem. Let's see what poem. Oh, this is Ray Vaughn's book to my son, Ray Vaughn. Okay, so let's find a poem that I think will be great for... Oh, I don't need this. The poem we're going to do today is one of my favorites. It's one of, out of all the poems, I always say 10% of my poems actually were my own experience. 90% was from me being around somebody, their energy falling on me like the dew in the morning, and a poem is birth. That's the gift. But this particular one, I wrote over 15 years ago. And I still, oh my God, it still just does something to me because I'm still walking in that direction. This poem is called Wishing on a Star. Crying and waiting, holding on to a dream. Never hesitating that life isn't what it seems. You know this journey that you're on leads to the same place, but as you're making different detours, you can't keep the tears from rolling down your face. When will I open the door to this dream I've held on to for so long? When will I complete the lyrics to ending this sad song? For it seems day after day I'm getting further from where I want to be, and I'm crying out to God to come and rescue me. Rescue me from this disappointment because things just won't go right. Throw in the towel before I get killed in this fight. But what he had to show me was that I had another round of fight to give. He then gave me a sip of water and breathed the will in me to live. He said the dream that he gave me is what keeps me going, and he wakes me up with that purpose without me ever even knowing. That the dream that he gave me sustained the life he placed in me, which made me want to strive and love who he created me to be. So I did not get so caught up in the dream, but embrace what it meant, because giving me purpose is what the dream represents. So I will never let go of my dream. I mean my purpose, no matter how long I wait, because God may not come when I want him, but he's never a minute too late. And so, when we say a minute too late, we say God is always on time because God is in time. And he wants you to use your time wisely because he's not on time. He is in time. And anytime you get in action for you, he's in that timing. So you become timeless when you realize that you are just in time, making every moment count. And that moment is about how you showed up at that time. Good things come to those who invest their time wisely. That's all I can say. And so we are 56 minutes in. I wanted to share this. Honey, I brought this for myself and I put this on my desk because I got to remind myself I have to change those seeds so I can show up in my magnitude. I want you to know that you're kind of a big deal because you're one of a kind. So I'm kind of a big deal because I'm one of a kind. So I'm one of the kinds that are a big deal. And so are you. And so different affirmations to remind you when you're not feeling up to your best, when you're looking at the evidence because you've invested and you haven't seen your return yet. I want you to know that God says because you invested your time, that you are kind of a big deal. Let me get this water before we figure out what our card is for today because we are set 57 minutes in. Melissa, I have to call you. You and Nate have to come over with the guitar because my girlfriend is going to come and we're going to work on the song. I'm so excited. Are you excited? We're going to work on the anthem, y'all. Put the little video to it. The I Choose Me anthem. Come on now. Yes. All in God's time. Melissa, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So here we go. We've been going now. This pile is getting slim. Slim, y'all, slim. So as always, this is a time where we take this time to basically figure out what is the I am God wants us to know about ourselves today, right? What is that? What is that I am? I want you to recognize that the I am is about who you see yourself being. That sun is no joke. I gotta put my glasses next time I come out here because I'm trying to see y'all see these comments, but Anyway, here we go. So as always, light out. Don't forget that this card, the ABCs of How Special I Am, you can find at PreciousPaulin.com. When I say that you are going on this journey, the thing that will help you is the tools. Tools to ignite your abracadabra. Go to PreciousPaulin.com and find you some tools, whether it is a book, whether it's a calendar, whether it is a book of poetry. When I say this poetry will feed your soul. Every poem in here is meant to lift you and to remind you of the precious thoughts of God for you, right? The precious thoughts. 365 days of life is to remind you that every single day you got to show up. Every day you got to show up for you. Every single day. How special am I? Well, I'm one of a kind is a reminder that your kids need to know that nobody can duplicate them, that they need to be here. I wrote this book as a self-love initiative because the suicide rate in our kids is redunculous. Why do they have all of us and they don't know their value? What is that? We need to remind them by not buying them sneakers, but by buying them seeds of thought that will change the way they see themselves. This is legacy building. We got to stop buying inanimate objects that are building nothing but giving them deeper insecurities. Kid don't need $100 pair of sneakers. They don't even have a job. You work for it. So give them the seeds to make sure that when they buying those things, they understand that it started from how you invested in your value. That should be extra. Shouldn't be your last. This is what this will teach you. This is what this will give them. So, like I said, here we go. So right now, God, we ask that whatever card that you would give us to pick for our I am for today, that you would touch us in a way that you will remind us that we don't have to go for the bag, that we are the bag, that we are the gift, that we are the treasure that we are in search of. And so I need you, God, right now, for everybody who is listening to this, who is watching this now, or even on a replay, that you would give us an I am that will infect us with another reminder of you being in control and in charge of our destiny, and us being able to commit to the I am you called us. So, I don't know. I guess I'm going to use this. That card jumped out. Did y'all see it? Did y'all see that card jump out? That's why I put the camera down, because I want you to see what God is doing. So I am divine. I am divine. That is the I am for today. I want you to know that you are divine. I want you to know that you are one of a kind. I want you to know that the divinity of God lies in you, and how you spend that time, how you recognize that it's not about anything but what you see in yourself, right? Because that's what the journey of I am is all about. It's about realizing that only positive affirmations will take you to the level of royalty which you were designed to be. I am divine. Oh my goodness. I couldn't find a better card for today's topic. Because at the end of the day, that's what the message is, right? You're chasing the bag, but the treasure's in the house. We know what divinity looks like. Divinity looks like you and me. Divinity looks like God's kisses every day. And so today's I am is I am divine. So I want you to look in the mirror today, and I want you to remind yourself of all the divine things that make you one of a kind, all the divine things that actually lead you to who you were created to be. We are 2 minutes over, and that is it for the day. I want you to remember that it is a relay race, and somebody is relying on you. So it's time for you to turn your heartbeat into a soul beat in order to leave a soul print. Because the fingerprint, it tells us what you got wrong in this world, but the soul print, it tells us what you got right. And what God got right is you. And so knowing that you are divine is the first step toward you seeing who you are and showing up in your divine anointing, that supernatural power. And so I thank you for spending your hour with Becoming Your Magic me, right? Becoming Your Magic Power Hour. I'm so grateful that you showed up for you. And in return, I only pray that my message plants a seed that will grow into something quite divine. I am divine. And so, as always, remember, you can never turn on anybody else's light, but you can provide enough light for them to find their switch. So it is your responsibility to stay lit in this world so somebody can find their way out of the darkness. Thank you. You've been tuning in to Miss Precious Paulin. If you do not know, the queen of soul stirring inspiration and prophetic poet, it is my privilege to soul coach you into a better relationship with yourself so that you can see the assignment that God has set before you. I love you guys. Remember to hit the hashtag BYMPH, Become Your Magic Power Hour. The 5. Come on, y'all. Love you guys. Thank you, Melissa. Flip your switches. I am divine. I love the kids' book. I purchased them for my kids and several others. Yes, you have. And listen, Melissa called me like I cried. What you said? I cried. I read that book. How many times you said you read that book? About 50 times and cried every single time. I am divine. Yes, yes, yes. Love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. I will definitely see you tomorrow. Don't forget to clock into you. And for those of you who are going on a journey, I can't wait to see you live in the private group because we got some work to do. I'm gonna do something later. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we're gonna do about 3 hours or something in there later. So I can't wait. I'm figuring it out as I go, but I do know I have designed some time for me. So design some time for you. See you guys later.